Welcome to another Crucible Showcase. Today instead of showcasing a stronghold, I'll be showing off how to get yourself out of a tight spot if you find yourself in a situation like this. So, I got a request from a person where in their CSM campaign they were kind of stuck in this position where they have a strength 8 with their hero province over here that they just can't get past. So let's discuss what you should do in this sort of situation. So first of all, let's discuss how to not get yourself into this situation in the first place. And that involves basic strategy, and if you have ever played Risk, this is not so dissimilar to that, where first of all, make sure to capture Warp Gate provinces. Obviously, don't go too far out of the way to capture them, but don't ignore them either, because they give more than double what any other province will give you in terms of requisition, and the same goes for the AI. If you let the AI hold the Warp Gate provinces because you ignored them, like let's say you go straight to Grumman's Pass, Marconia, down here to Parmeny, and you leave this province be, chances are the AI will have more requisition to reinforce their provinces than if you took it, because the extra turn to take it is well worth it when they get more than double what they would get on any other province. So that's the first thing. Do not ignore the Warp Gate provinces. And that's the interesting thing. So I had to spend a lot of turns to get this guy to strength 8. Like 30 turns or something along those lines. If you look at the rest of the map, it's all kind of scuffed. IG took the sister stronghold, Space Marines took over their entire planet, Necrons are just fully fortified. But yeah, so that's the first thing. Remember that requisition is to be considered for both you and the AI. Don't just go for Honor Guard. Requisition is an important resource and you should take that into account when planning your strategic moves. So, second thing is that you can also bait the enemy away from the provinces. So for example, if you start here, go to Grumman's Pass, then Moorholt Range, then Marconia, the enemy is probably going to be either here or here. One of those two provinces, either Parmeny or Tristan Plains. A Warp Gate province is usually easier than any other, and furthermore, if you destroy the Dark Eldar HQ, you don't need to capture this province anyway. So if the enemy is here, reinforce this province, maybe reinforce the HQ if you need to, and just let them be there. Don't drive them out of here, because they will go back here and you will have a much tougher fight on your hands. And if they're here in Parmeny, you can do a similar thing where you go for Tristan Plains, then go for Parmenian Heath whilst defending this province, and then you can backstab them and kill them over here, which will put them back on their HQ. So 2 turns, get to their HQ. There you go. So that's all the ways that you can prevent such a situation from happening. Oh, and obviously don't just do what I did, which is sit here and press and turn over and over. That's not a good idea. You should always try to do something. Even if your attack fails, it's better to attack and fail than to not attack at all. And I'll go into that a little bit later. So, first thing to note here. You can, again, bait the Honor Guard into whatever province you want to. Something I noticed in the 15 or so defensive battles I had to do here whilst I was pressing end turn is that when these are reinforced both to all of their infantry reinforcements, well, except for the cultists, he will always attack the province that doesn't have the hero on it. So my assumption is that they will always try to go for a province that is lower strength, or most of the time try to go for a province that is lower strength. So what you can do is you can reinforce one of the provinces, leave the other one as juicy bait, and then when they attack the province that was left there as bait, you let them win, and then capture this easier. So that's one way to make it easier. Second thing I would like to point out. Don't be allergic to actually losing battles. I know it's very tempting to just load whenever you lose to before the battle, but that's not always necessarily better, because an attempted battle, even if you lose, will reduce the enemy strength. So when I attacked this, just to test this, I attacked it. I didn't bring any honor guard. I didn't do anything. I just attacked and quit out. And it went from strength 8 to strength 6. So if you're in a desperate position, you could also kind of cheese it like that, or, give it your best shot, but then accept the defeat because it will reduce the enemy strength and make it easier later on. But if you don't want to take any of those strategic options and want to just smash your head against the wall, I'll be showing off how to do this. So one thing to note, this situation is not identical to the one the person described, simply because the Dark Eldar in my campaign kept attacking me and basically wasted all of the honor guards. So they are missing some honor guard that they would have in his position, but considering that he has the other strategic options and doesn't just need to do this straight up, it shouldn't be a big deal. It's not much of a difference. This is the war gear I decided to go with. I don't care so much for my heroes doing damage. I know that most of the time that it's better to go for defensive buffs because your hero is meant to be a big, beefy tank up front. So him and them doing damage isn't as crucial as them supporting your army or just tanking. So let's get into this.
We serve. I try to do your will.
Cross me.
Enemies of the dark gods, beware! Bless us, we can serve you. We are eager to please. Bless us, great one. Grant us the gifts of the chaos gods. Bless us, great one.
Cross me.
Our victory is assured. Grant us
Phew. Well, that was a tough little challenge. So to kind of, I had to be quiet there because I needed to focus, and if I tried to commentate, I feel like I would have messed up on something and lost there. So, core part of the strategy there is Dark Eldar. Usually what you do versus AI is you snipe their builders and you snipe their production buildings so that they can't build anything anymore, and at that point they're dead, even if they're sitting on thousands of resources, as long as you make sure that no builders get out of their initial area, or even if one builder gets out, it's going to take them ages to build another HQ or more barracks or units, and at that point they're basically dead. You can even just ignore the enemy HQ and then cap the listening posts. The catch with Dark Eldar is because their builders just need to tap the buildings rather than fully build them, trying to limit their production is tricky and takes a lot more micro because you need to snipe the builders as they're running around everywhere, which can be difficult, especially with all the other units running around. So the idea there was to instead limit the production of limit the economy of the bottom base. Because even if a few builders get away and go to the top base, they're gonna have nothing. They're not gonna be able to do anything. So leaving the base more or less intact, but just focusing on not letting them get any sort of economy up worked out there. And you may note also, because the other AI was trying to help the first AI, they kind of ran around the middle of the map. So that is also another thing that you can exploit. If there's two AI, you can intercept the forces that the other AI will send to help and crush them and force them to retreat before they even get to their destination. So that's what I did there with the middle of the map with the Noise Marines. A few other tricks. Glowing Slaanesh is very good because you are a lot less vulnerable to morale. Like, Slaanesh gives morale buffs, and Noise Marines are really good, as you saw versus Dark Eldar, because they do good damage to buildings, and spamming buildings is one of the things that Dark Eldar can do, again, because of their builders and how they work. And also, their AoE damage just absolutely shreds the low HP of the infantry, and the Noise Marines have a shit ton of morale. Their morale is really high, so it's hard to break them. So, yeah, I would not recommend doing this. If you're looking at this and being like, what the fuck, I can't do this, I can't pull it off, that's fine. You shouldn't really need to. You will need to face similar challenges to something like this in the strongholds, but the strongholds are a lot more kind of building tension and building difficulty rather than you have to get everything right in the first 5 minutes, otherwise you die. So their difficulty there is a little bit different. But yeah. So, yeah. Hopefully this was useful to you guys. Tell me if there's another faction or another situation you want me to cover. And remember, there were many, many ways to make this fight easier. You could have baited the hero into another province, captured the warp gates earlier to stop them from getting up to tier 8 in the first place, or just straight up try to fight the battle multiple times, and each time they would get reduced in difficulty by the time, and maybe on like third or fourth attempt, they'll be down to 1 AI, which is obviously a lot easier to deal with. So yeah. So leave anything, obviously anything, advice, or if you want any help, leave it in the comments or preferably in our Discord. We'll help you there. And see you guys in the next one.